Hey, I'm Siegel from Team NRG. I'm here to show you a tip on how to play fair today. So here's a fair trick for you, the first trick I like to show. So here is the max distance of a normal shift boost. I'm using spray as sort of a marker to show you how high you go as fair. The server has no cooldowns or anything like that. So here's a normal shift boost. You get around to there. Now if you do a nice rocket jump plus shift, however, you get to around double the height. So if that's fair for any reason, notice it takes around 40 damage. You decide you want to get a crap ton of height, and you really should do this because you can go, I mean, really high. Like that's the highest point you can go in the map. Always make sure you do a little bit of a rocket jump plus shift boost at the same time. If you mess up the timing a little bit, you won't go as high. So you see I didn't go quite as high in that one, but I think it's really good to know, especially in the Mercy Fair versus Mercy Fair duels. Although not as popular this patch, you never know what's going to make a comeback. And that's a quick tip on how to play fair. Hope that worked for you guys. See you later.
Well, that was Player Tips presented by the Republic of Gamers. Some handy tips there from Siegel. And I'm sure we have a lot more to learn from him, too, as we catch up in his next matchup. This is going to be NRG versus Liquid. Two powerhouse teams, both of them lots of great stories. So let's take a look at NRG first. Chris, what do you know about this team?
I mean, it's a story of Siegel. And I hate to say it because it's kind of demotivating at times, but it's Siegel and the merry band of whoever. It doesn't matter. He's the big story here. And as someone that's been a critic of him in the past, I gotta say, watching him first person live in scrims, he actually does do what he's supposed to. He does carry this team to a certain degree. So you gotta look out for him always. At the same time, they've been out of the loop for a while. They haven't played any competitive matches for a little bit, so it's gonna be a big question mark just where they fall against Liquid.
NRG, they've been in the training. They've been off the grid. They have been doing boot camping now for a long time. They knew that they had problems that they want to fix. I will say, though, that even though Siegel gets a lot of credit on the team, you can't underlook the supporting cast there. When NRG was doing their greatest, when they were a true top 4 NA team, they had huge contribution from Enigma and huge contribution from Gods. So it's easy to focus on Siegel, but really Enigma, one of the best tracers in the game, said by all other comp players, a true rock on that team. And also, I think looking forward, it's going to depend on what Gods does, because Gods, when he was on point, NRG was amazing. He struggled at points as a result.
That was Widowmaker. That was that was Soldier. That was different time.
It wasn't just Widow, though. He also had a really good McCree in those times, too. Because Gods, when he came up, it was a really good McCree player. He was just hit scan God at many levels, not to say the opponent his name, but he was great. So the question is that in this boot camp, has he retained his former glory, or is he still going to be struggling?
Well, these guys, you know, it's going to be interesting to see NRG go up against Liquid here, because we talked about Siegel, but two players on his team, Dummy, Enigma, he's known them for a long time. They come from competitive TF2. They have a great team. Liquid, however, is stacked full of Quake pros and other phenomenal players. So, ZP, why don't you give us a little more insight into Liquid?
Liquid is interesting because, as you mentioned, they do have the Quake Pro background, and they just added Rafa to the team. And Rafa, for those who have followed Quake, he's most known for his game intelligence, and it was very noticeable after adding him that Liquid was making better calls in game. Now, I don't know if it was just Rafa's influence or if he was actually shot calling, but adding him was a huge deal. And Liquid, they've had their ups and downs. I think they've been one of the more variable NA teams where sometimes Liquid comes out and they look like they're top 4 contender, and sometimes they come out and you wonder if they're even top 8. So we haven't seen as much from them recently. They've also been off training. I'm not sure if they did quite as extensive boot camp for NRG, but I feel like this is a very hard match to predict.
I think Liquid they lack an identity. Right now, they've had a lot of roster swaps. They've gone through multiple different people. They've even, like, captain-wise, I assume now Rafa's leading this team, but before, even on the other side, who's playing for NRG now, Dummy has had some experience there. It's just, it's really hard for me to see Liquid doing any better than they do in almost all eSport games. They're coming out, to me, 3rd or 4th.
Wow, as a former Liquid player, Chris.
Well, no, not me. Me personally, on Liquid, I did very well, but everybody else, not cutting it.
One thing, though, it's not quite a rivalry, but Dummy was one of the founding members of Team Liquid on the Overwatch side, and now is back with NRG, who he also had history with earlier in Overwatch. So that's an interesting dynamic there, too, where it was sort of mixed thoughts about how that went down. But if Dummy wants to beat his former team, there's a little bit of extra motivation there. Of course, Dummy now taking the support slot on NRG, interesting slot on NRG.
As I said, he was the captain, right, prior on Liquid?
Yes.
Kind of his team, and now it's kind of Rafa, so...
Wow, that's some interesting context headed into this next match. Earlier today, Malik got a chance to catch up with Siegel. Let's hear what they had to say.
All right, guys, I'm here with the People's Champion, Siegel. Man, how's it been getting all this love and all this fanfare?
Pretty crazy. E-League babies me. Feels good.
Excellent, excellent, man. So going into the tournament, how's NRG been with preparation?
We boot camped for about a week beforehand. One of the managers at NRG has a house in Atlanta, so it was very beneficial for a lot of us West Coast players going 3 hours ahead and like, hey, wake up 6 a.m. East, like it's like 3 a.m. where we're from, so it's nice. It's nice.
Good. So it's been a good boot camp. Awesome. So the last time you guys faced off against Liquid was during the Atlantic Showdown, and you guys didn't quite end the way you would have wanted it to. So what are you guys doing differently this time so that you can kind of turn the tables this time?
Since then, we've boot camped I think 2 times. I was I think about a month and a half ago. It was a long time ago in terms of patches. Nothing too different in terms of preparation, and just a lot of boot camping, lots of in-person experience. We think we've rapidly improved since then with that, and I think we'll do a lot better, especially given this current patch. I think it favors our team a lot.
Right. Now, one thing about you is you've always been one of the innovators and one of the guys who's been on the frontiers of like the Overwatch meta and some of the gameplay tactics. Do we have anything special up the Seagull sleeve that you might be showing us this tournament?
I don't know. This patch, I mean, you just see a lot of 3 tanks, see some Mei, occasional Bastions, but I don't know, it's not much. I haven't seen much innovation so far in this patch. It's really tough, but I sure hope so.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Well, yo, I wish you the best of luck. And on that note, we're going to send it back to the desk. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Malik. That was an incredible interview with Seagull there. We got a little more insight into this guy that everyone is talking about coming into this tournament. Seagull, one of the biggest streamers in Overwatch, long history in FPS games. Young guy, shouted out by Shaq himself. What else can you tell me about Seagull, CP?
I mean, Seagull, he's one of the best DPS players in the game. He has been for a long time. There's a reason why he has his fan base. Very likable. I mean, when you run tournaments, anytime Seagull's team is in the tournament, your viewer count just spikes. He has a loyal following, just unlike the type that anyone has really seen here in the scene. So there's a lot of hype behind them, but there's also a lot of expectation where you look at NRG as a whole, you look at their progress, they have not really ever been a solid #1. And I guess the question here today is, will Seagull and the rest of NRG be able to come out and show that, you know what, we're actually fighting for that #1 spot, we're not just going to be in the pack anymore?
It's like the quote of old days that with great power comes great responsibility. When you have that fan base, you kind of got to live up to it. And it's a question of, do you want to be a streamer or do you want to be a pro player? Because everybody knows him having these great stream numbers, but does that affect his professional play? I mean, that's a hard balance. You don't see that very often where you can do both and be at the top level.
You just touched a nerve there if Seagull could hear this, because let me just tell you, when you're trying to do pro competition and people go, oh, you're not a pro player, you're just a streamer, you actually just tilt, because it is the most annoying thing. Seagull takes a lot of pride in being a pro player, wants to be the best. He's great at streaming, but he wants you to think of him first and foremost as one of the top players in the game.
All right, well, if he wants to prove that, then this is the week for it, and this is the game that's going to start everything off for them. Let's check out the maps that they're going to be playing on, a huge factor in the competition. We're going to start off on Dorado, and then it's a loser's pick, whether we head to Hollywood or Numbani. Guys, what do you think about this lineup?
I think it's fairly standard. I mean, I think both these teams are pretty good on payload or hybrid maps, so either way, I think it's a fair lineup.
Dorado first is a big deal for NRG. This has been one of their signature maps going all the way back as they just look at them in their old LG days, even before then. They loved Dorado. So I think this, if NRG is going to start out strong here, they're going to do it on Dorado. If they lose Dorado against Liquid, I think it's a very bad omen for the rest of the series just because of how experienced they usually are on Dorado. So I think you have to expect NRG to take this map, and if they don't, it's bad news bears.
Well, what are the features of Dorado that NRG is particularly favorable towards?
NRG, I mean, they in the past used to run a lot of verticality heroes. They were very good at Pharah, very good at Genji, really good at exploiting the terrain. I think in general, it's just a map that they put more practice time into, and it was sort of their home ground. And I wish I could pull the stat on it, but I think it's one of those cases where I'm not sure they win very many series where they drop Dorado. So definitely, I think it's a key breaking point here.
I think it's like a psychological thing more than a tactical thing. It's just, you know, a lot of those wins, as you said, Pharah being very popular, it's from very old patches. And you know, it might just be like, this is our baby, we always win, we should go back to what we do well. But the problem is if you're in that mindset and things change, maybe you're not quite as good as you thought you used to be.
Wow, that's some harsh assessment here. We're going to be holding these players under the microscope and really examining their play after the match because, Chris, these players are sort of at the forefront of the scene. I think there's so many teams in Overwatch, so many people have been performing well, But when it comes to sort of that mainstream exposure, NRG has been at the top of the list. So we'll see if that exposure helps them out or not. But speaking of exposure, let's give some to two new, beautiful, handsome faces. Over at our caster desk, we have Mr. X, and is that a global icon and a national treasure?
Don't go there already.
Like this.
Gentlemen, do it.
We've already gone there with Goldenboy.
Hello, everyone. I am a global icon and a national treasure, and the chat is probably hating the crap out of me right now.
Highly debatable.
Yeah, I know,
Highly
it's true.
debatable.
I just want to point out, Huck is one of the meanest people I've ever heard.
That's why we brought him.
Very critical. Very critical.
It's, you know, bless
I love
you.
it, though.
It's fantastic.
It's the EG mentality. I love it.
Yeah, I know, for
It's
sure.
only, you can only do it if you're a former pro gamer. That way you don't get too much backlash.
Yeah, no, I know everything about that. Definitely.
Yeah, no, Goldenboy's never actually done anything professionally.
That's actually very true. I'm not even professional right now. I'm an amateur commentator.
Don't scare me,
disguising as a
guys. We're putting
professional commentator.
No pressure.
No pressure.
All right, we're putting a lot of trust in you, and I don't think it's too misplaced. So Goldenboy, Mr. X, we'll be hearing a lot more from you as the games get underway. But
Bye.
before we do, ZP, Huck, share with me your predictions. ZP, start us off.
I think going into this, just knowing that they've had a longer time boot camp and Team Liquid has more instability, I lean towards NRG, but it's a very soft lean. It would be 55-45 NRG. But if Liquid comes in and takes us 2-0, not going to be surprised.
This is a really
Tell
tough
me,
one. I'm
Chris.
going to go with NRG too. I think they're a leaner, younger team. I think they're more motivated. I look at Team Liquid, and they have some legends, of course. Rafa, legend. But is he past his prime? You know, he's been in the game a long time. As a guy that's been in the game a long time, you got to get out at some point. You got to make the transition. That's why I'm here today. And I think he's going to be joining me pretty soon.
Wow.
What brutal.
Going all in. We're going all in.
Well, you know what? There's just all that we were just talking about, that extra stress that's on his shoulders. He has been thrust to the forefront of the Overwatch scene right
Yes.
now, and that has got to be exhausting. But that's something we can keep in mind, you know, as these players prepare and as they execute, because we're taking a look at Sean Hendrickson right there, Shane Hendrickson, Rafa, and he's someone that has been under pressure and gaming all on his own in dual maps, in dual games. You
He
can see
won't
it
have
washes
nerfs.
right off.
Yeah.
He's cool as a cucumber.
He always has been, and he's, more importantly, he has to be a leader to this team. I mean, I have confidence in him. You can see him right now talking to him. They're all listening to him. Even when he walks into the room, you know, they walk in as a team. He's at the forefront. He's the alpha male on that team, and he has to really lead these guys to victory because, as I said, so far, Team Liquid, they haven't had that key captain that can build their team around, and they haven't had that identity.
The key thing with Rafa, again, is that he is a very cerebral player. He did not get as good as he did in other games like Quake before moving to Overwatch just by going on pure reflex. He is a player that really brought things on at just an intelligent level where I'm going to approach this map a certain way. I'm going to just outthink my opponent. And if you can bring that to Overwatch, it's good because Overwatch, it rewards your mechanical play. It rewards it heavily, but it also rewards
right.
teams that do well.
Well, let's check out how this plays out for our players. Back to our casters. Mr. X, Goldenboy, take it away.
Thank you so much, Seltzer. All right, here we go. It's going to be time to kick things off on Dorado. Very excited, X, because this, you know, I never thought in my lifetime I'd be able to cast Rafa, you know, into Hang, you know, the likes of some legends such as them.
Well, the Liquid, you know, you come into this matchup, this is one of the ones that you looked at in groups. It's going to be a little bit harder to pick. And I think it's because, you know, Liquid, they have all this talent, but they have no roster continuity, right? They just keep changing over and over again. It's like, how fast can they click together? I think that's what's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, of course, here. And to kind of like touch base with what the analyst said, NRG is certainly going to be the focal point here in this matchup,
Right.
especially because of their liking for Dorado, right? Dorado could be a blessing and a curse, right? It could work out really well for them. They move on and get this confidence, or, you know, maybe just crumple under pressure.
Well, also, I mean, they have a lot of pressure on them. I mean, when you
Very
have
true.
Seagull on your team, obviously, you know, one of the bigger Overwatch streamers, personalities this time, it's a ton of pressure on him to perform. I mean, the chat right now is just going crazy, being able to watch him play,
Almost
go
there.
live in person. So we're going to take a look as we're just about to get underway. Liquid on the defensive side of things is going to have AZK on McCree. Definitely want to look out for that. And they're going to be running a Mei, and I really like what Envy did running a Mei on the defensive side of things, you know, to combat all those tanks. They tried to just split them up so Ana can't ult them, give them that nano boost and charge in.
All right, folks, here we go, and you're seeing the 3-2-1 comp here. So, you know, generally it's going to be 3 tanks, 2 supports, 1 DPS character. That's actually going to be Seagull on the Hanzo. We're going to see what he could do here as well, because obviously all eyes are going to be on this young man here to see how he performs. And May, you know, you had mentioned it before, May could be a nuisance for a character or a hero like Hanzo. So maybe Seagull, this is just going to be a challenge for him to have to deal with right now as the engagement's going to begin. And you start to see NRG just having to back away, but they can't because they're going to be stuck between a rock and a hard place, finally being able to break through the ice. And now just having to poke their way out and disengaging, realizing, you know what, we lost our Reinhardt right away. We just cannot contest with this.
And Seagull's doing a ton of good damage here with this Hanzo, right? That's what you want to do. You want to put those shots down at range, but not able to take anybody out, not get a pick. It gave the other side a hang. He's getting very close to that nano boost. So, you know, when you do that damage, you're not able to get a pick. You give the other team the nano boost, gives them the advantage.
Well, speaking of nano boost, Dummy does have it, and this could be very interesting. We've seen how Ana has really impacted things, and there goes the nano boost there. Milo's going to charge right in. It's hammer time, but he's going to get stopped right in his tracks, though, and having to back away as quickly as he possibly could. Finds the Zarya up, but won't be able to do much with that one, though. There is going to be 2 down here for Liquid. 3 down for Liquid, as a matter of fact. Despite that, the Blizzard's going to come through, and you are going to have Milo falling, so that is going to be yet another push that NRG just can't quite finish here.
I'll actually move the payload, so they're actually doing a good job here. It's going to be Enigma fully charged. They
don't have a lot of support here, so they just need to be very careful. Enigma, though, is going to go in with this Graviton Surge, and look at that. You can see that Bionetic Grenade actually just really healing and keeping them alive. They managed to back away there from the ultimate ability of Hanzo. Seagull's going to get dropped right away, though. It's going to be a 2-2 split as far as it's concerned, but Liquid's being able to come out on top here would be huge for them as they're just gunning down Gods. He won't be able to stay alive much long. And that is going to be a victory for Liquid.
Yeah, and Enigma uses his Graviton right there, uses his Zarya ult, and I know he gets a few players trapped in it, but it's going to be NRG not able to win the fight. Team Liquid comes off spawn, and now they have ult advantage as well. So this is actually looking pretty good for Liquid here early.
Yeah, I mean, of course, one thing you always got to be cautious of are the pokes as you come around that choke, because that's just opportunity for Dummy to be able to build up that ultimate, you know, heal his teammates and give them that opportunity to get that nano boost, especially with Milo with Earth Shatter.
Yeah, we see a little bit of a change in the composition for NRG as well. God's going to go on a Reaper, and Seagull is going to go off the Hanzo, try and get on May, and it's going to be AZK using that ultimate, not able to connect with anybody. You're going to see Lucio ult come in as well, and now they're going to start to charge the side of NRG.
This is looking really good here for Liquid as they manage to get 3 down, and they're just going on the charge. Of course, the disengage for NRG may not be enough, but wisely enough, Liquid just puts them away, says get back there, get back to the starting point, try again. Good luck next time, because we're not going to make this any easier for you. Keep in mind, though, Pooks does have his sound barrier up, so this could be an opportunity for NRG to engage and, you know, get in the face of Liquid if they decide to use it here.
Yeah, well, I really think if Pooks goes and uses that, you're going to see this May ult come out. You know, stop them right in their tracks, buy them a little bit of time. I think that would be a big play from Liquid. It's going to be 30 seconds left, and it's going to be a beautiful
nice
May wall rocking off the opponents. There comes the sound barrier from the opponents. It's going to be Adi throwing down the Blizzard.
This is looking very good here on the outset for Liquid. But wait a minute, as the tides turn, Seagull and Milo were able to pick up 2. Seagull with that May doing work, but they're going to get sucked into the Graviton Surge. Luckily for them, that grenade, that Bionetic nade from Ana is going to keep them alive. And this looks like a good victory here thus far for NRG. They should be able to push this one forward with relative ease, and we're going to be moving on to the next phase of this one.
It was not an easy fight. Not an easy fight by any stretch of the imagination. A lot of ultimates on both teams used right there. But now it's going to be NRG. They're going to have that nano boost on Dummy. Going to have Enigma with his Graviton and Milo with that Earth Shatter. So they should be able to keep moving this payload forward.
This is going to be tough, right? You know, because you're going to have 2 nanos going after each other at the same time. I want to keep my eyes, though, on the defensive side for AZK, because you never know. He could drop out of nowhere with a Deadeye and just surprise the crap out of all of us. I was actually watching one of the cups the other day, and I saw an incredible play from, I believe it was Zappis, an NIP who just pulled 5 in a row with a Deadeye. It was so filthy. So I'm going to assume that AZK is looking for an opportunity here as he just, and of course, identifies that there is going to be a Zarya over on the side, and they're just going to go right after, chase Enigma down, won't be able to stand there for too long, and AZK continuing to charge up is going to get that Bionetic nade, trying to stay alive, but there goes Gods with 4 kills. What a play out of him as he just wipes the floor with Liquid.
Oh man,
unbelievable.
We were looking to see the nano on the Reinhardt, and as soon as Gods got that ult, uses the Death Blossom with the nano, absolutely rips through Liquid, and the payload is moving. in NRG's favor, and they are
I'm
just
sweating
pushing back.
It is freezing in this room, and I am just
It's
sweating
actually
right now.
extremely cold in here.
It is, but sometimes, some plays just make you a little sweaty there. Matt.
Yeah, no, that was sick from Gods, and that's really kind of opened up this entire map for NRG. They're going to try and take the high ground here as they still continue to move the payload. Just trying to put some shots at range is AZK. Potentially trying to set something up here for the Deadeye.
There goes the Deadeye. Oh, not going to happen, AZK. Not today, Siegel says, as he shuts you down. Rafa, though, having to back away. Let's see what the Quake veteran can do, as the Blizzard is actually going to drop. And this is going to be a bad position here for Gods, as he should get easily picked off right away. That's going to be one kill for him. Looking for another one, as Milo's actually going to be in the thick of things here and manages to stay alive because he does get nano boosted for that brief moment, excuse me. And another Earthshatter coming out of Messer here. They're just going to wipe the floor. Liquid's going to get the clear, and that is going to be huge for this Team Liquid squad as they manage to stop it at 1.7 meters. Looking at the ult advantage, though, who is going to be able to build something up here quick enough? It really seems like and also another thing to keep in mind, too, we have 8 seconds. Thank you so much, Matt, for pointing that one out, because this is going to be a very clutch battle here for NRG. Can they do it is going to be the question. Gods finds one in front of him, and you are going to have Reinhardt action right in front between Messer and Milo. Godso is going to fall right away. Messer's able to get the pick there on Milo. Messer just swinging around like a crazy person. Gods managed to pick up 2. Poops gets some cleanup on Messer as well. And this could honestly, at this point, it is anyone's ball game. But with 2 players left alive, this is going to be a clear for NRG, and they're moving this one to the next round of the map.
It looked like AZK actually had Pook's flash on the side of NRG, and he gets taken out, though, by Gods at the final second. Would have been a big kill if AZK is able to get it. Obviously, Lucio Su good with that AoE healing. Would have been able to take out some of the other players, do a little bit more damage if he was able to take out the healer. So right there is actually a big play by Gods.
Huge play. And we'll see, of course, if they can continue this here. I got to give credit to Liquid, because the desk had said that, especially Huck, he was particularly critical of Team Liquid. But so far, they've shown some pretty good play thus far, really showing up when they need to, able to clear out 2. Of course, Dummy's going to have that ult, the nano boost there, so expect him to use that in a little bit. This could be, and it is, a failed push for NRG as they get stopped right in their tracks. And now Liquid, they have to think about how they want to, handle this approach, and they're going for the high ground. Smart play, in my opinion.
Yeah, but look at how many ults are up for NRG. Yeah. You have Dummy with the Nano, you have Gods with Deadeye, Pooks is going to have the Sound Barrier, and Seagull's going to have that Blizzard. And you're going to get Milo very close to an Earthshatter. So a ton of ults for NRG to work with. They should be able to create something here in the last few seconds.
Potentially. And there goes the Hang, actually dropping it, his Nano Boost as well. Milo's just going to charge in. It's going to be a Nano Boost showdown here as the players just whacking away at the hammer. Milo's able to get the Earthshatter. That's going to be 2 down. Seagull is able to pick off AZK, and a clear here coming out. Minstrel's going to be the last one alive, and it is going to overtime. This is a critical situation here, and look at the ults that Gods and Seagull have. This could play very well to their advantage, but they have to be very wary of Rafa with that Graviton Surge when it pops up, because that can cause a lot of problems for them. God's getting ready for it, but he doesn't find anything. He's going to get cleared out as well. Overtime in effect here, people. It's going to be a crazy situation if NRG is going to be able to come out on top. Milo's able to get 2. They're going to have 3 players circling the payload as Dummy, Seagull, and Enigma trying to work to get this clear, which if they can clear out ID, they might be able to do so. Here comes the Hang, drops 1 down, is able to get that Bionetic nade, and this is going to be a clear. I don't think NRG is going to be able to get this X.
No, and it's going to be the Hang actually put Seagull to sleep. Seagull did a fantastic job getting in that ice block and putting up a wall, just buying himself some time, and the Hang has the Nano. He uses this. This could be game over in favor of Liquid here in the first half, and he's going to get a good assist there.
There you go.
And
they
that is it.
Hit 2 points for this round as we get ready for our next one here. And I have to say, X, I want to get your thoughts on this one, because clearly this was not something that I don't even think I expected. I mean, here's a couple tidbits for you. NRG, they boot camped leading into this event. They went off the grid, and they boot camped with Envy, keep in mind.
Yeah.
And I was actually checking out, I believe it was over.gg, and one of the things that they had actually done an interview, or they had spoken with Internet Hulk, I believe, and he said that the NRG scrims are some of the most challenging scrims that they had, even more challenging than Fnatic going into the Atlantic Showdown. So what that tells me here is that Liquid showed up. They're here to play.
Well, it's what we talked about a little bit in the pregame with Liquid. It's like they have the talent, just whether they could put it together or not. I mean, right there at the end, NRG had, ult advantage. I mean, they had so many. They had the Seagull Blizzard, they had the Sound Barrier, they had a Zarya ult, and they used some of it. They actually got the payload further. They actually saved that Blizzard. You know, Seagull didn't use it right away. They were getting it towards the end, and they end up using the Blizzard, getting nothing out of it right there at the last few seconds. And Liquid just a fantastic play there in the final moments. But now you look at it, it's like NRG basically got it all the way there. It's like Liquid, all they have to do is actually, you know, advance the payload all the way to the end to win it. But, I mean, it's still a fantastic showing on the defensive side of things from Liquid there early.
Another thing, too, to point out was the clear on AZK right away, right? That was another surprising one, too, because he went for that Deadeye above, and as soon as they saw that, I mean, they sent at the kitchen sink. They basically picked up a sink from the bathroom inside of that facility, chucked it over to AZK. And
a lot of focus.
Yeah, I know, right? Just take this, please. And they gave him absolutely nothing to work with. But here we go, folks, as we're going to jump into the second round of play. And let's look at our lineups. We have Ana, Reinhardt, Lucio, of course, the one and only McCree, Winston, and Zarya for Team Liquid on the attack here. On the other side, similar thing that you're going to see here, but Seagull will be on that Mei, so expect big things out of him as he's looking to isolate the defense and make opportunities for his squad.
Yeah, I mean, so we saw Envy do a great job with Mei, just separating the opponents, able to get easy picks early. It's going to be Enigma, though, taking out Messer here at the start. It's a good start here for NRG getting that first pick. I feel like first pick is such a huge advantage, obviously, when you go up, 6 players to 5, you're able to just push the opposing team back with ease.
This is it. You're trapped in a glass case of emotion, buddy. Oh, my goodness. That is unfortunate for you, and he will fall. They sniffed him out there, man. They knew exactly where he was and handled business like pros. This is going to be fantastic clear here for NRG off the break. And you know, we saw some pretty good defense from Liquid. I'm expecting something similar here for NRG, you know, and it's really hard to make that call right away, but I just feel like these two teams are so evenly matched, and there goes Gods dropping his ult and just shredding everyone as he walks in. Milo picks up one on ID. Milo's actually going to get nano boosted as well, so he's looking for a target. There goes Gods, though, just keeping the blue team, Team Liquid, at bay and not giving them any ground.
So it's something interesting. I know we've all been here for a few days, Casters Analysis, talking about, 3-3 strat, like how do you stop it? How do you go about combating it? And one of the things we've kind of like always talked about and toyed about is like, oh, maybe getting aggressive on the defensive side of things, right? Not letting that Ana build up the ult on the offense, really just going and attacking her early. And that's what NRG did there with, Roadhog just diving in with Seagull on the Mei, and they did a fantastic job. Now they're going to back up, and we're going to see how it's going to work for them.
The sneaky fat man, look for him as he manages to hook the McCree. Good night, sweet prince. AZK is going to have to take a seat, and there goes Gods on the attack yet again. He's going to find Minstrel in front of him. Come here, son. He's going to give him the business as well. To Hangs in a world of hurt. Messer realizing, oh crap, I got to get back there and deal with Gods. Graviton Surge, though, in effect, as Gods and the rest of the crew just whack a frozen Team Liquid. Liquid was actually solid there for a minute.
And that's what Roadhog is so good at, being able to use that hook, pick players out from the back line, and able to get those picks. Not many times you see a Roadhog go on the flank, so to speak. We saw it there from Gods, but he was able to take out AZK there first, and then Minstrel second. 2 big kills for NRG. They're doing a fantastic job holding this.
Yeah, I mean, you only have a minute 33. Lots of time to work with here, keep in mind. But and look at just the hooks from Gods. He manages to find one, although he doesn't follow up with that Ana hook. Still, that was a very, very well done hook, despite it all. Here comes the pressure, though. ID's actually going to be right in front, and just Gods with these hooks is a savage. But you have an Earth Shatter coming in. That's actually going to be an Earth Shatter from Messer. Gods decides to pop his ultimate right now and just keep Liquid at bay as best he possibly can. He's going to have only 182 health remaining here, though, and decides to go in for it. Sound Barrier is going to drop as well, and there goes a Graviton Surge. Just so much going on. Gods is going to get dragged right to the front of that payload. Seagull's looking to pick up these kills, and ID drops Seagull, but despite all of that, though, Milo is trying to just hang strong here along with Lucio and just do work. So it's the Pooks and Milo show. Let's see if they're able to hold this one off, which it seems like they're able to do so, and no advancement of the payload just yet, but it is going to get really risky for them. Milo just got caught in a corner. That's unfortunate, and Gods, he's going to be in a bad spot as well, just in front of the entire Liquid team with only 89 health remaining. I cannot see this ending out really well. Gods gets dropped, and this could very well be an advancement. A clear there. Rafa gets a triple with his Reaper, and that is going to give him that first point, but it was a tough one next.
And AZK at the end actually there chases down Pook, so they're going to stagger his spawn. He's not going to spawn up with his teammates, and that's a huge pick because obviously, you know, Lucio very powerful with the AoE healing and the speed, not going to spawn up with the teammates right away.
Well, they're going to have to wait.
Yeah, they're going to have to wait.
And that's going to give a lot of payload advancement. Keep in mind, though, there's only going to be one person on there, so that thing's going slow as molasses at this point. So they're going to need a couple more bodies on that. 3 is ideal to just advance this one forward as quick as they could. Here comes NRG playing above, and I've seen this done so many times. Of course, this is going to be really dangerous here for Liquid. Here comes to hang. Also, and another thing too, that Bionetic nade, it is a brutal ability there from Ana that does not allow you to heal anymore. But Messer is going to just go swinging all over the place. He's going to pick up 2 for his troubles. It's going to be, of course, the Reinhardt and Lucio combo working in tandem yet again, and they're trying to just push them back as far as they can so they can advance that payload, get bodies on it, X.
I mean, Ana and Reinhardt together are just such a devastating combination, right? I mean, you know, you nano the Reinhardt, Ana's able to heal him at range, you know, from a distance, keep, you know, safe distance from the opponents, and then Reinhardt goes in there and just swing with the armor. He has an Earth Shatter, he's able to knock players down, takes players out with ease, and it's just a devastating combination. I don't think many teams have kind of figured out a way to stop yet.
And AZK just looking to get this pick on Lucio here, and this could Pooks knows he's in a world of hurt. He's only going to have a couple pips of health remaining, and then finally gets focused down on. So you can never, you know, discount a talented Tracer. Look at that, there, AZK! Oh my goodness, he just shut down the Lucio, the Reinhardt, and the Roadhog, and that's what I'm saying. You know, a good Tracer goes a long way here, boys. You know, Semmler wasn't wrong to say Tracer is
I was
his
going to
favorite
say,
character.
I watched Semmler play a decent amount of Tracers. It's kind of how Semmler
Pull that
plays
off,
it.
Semmler.
Yeah,
How about
AZK's probably been watching Semmler play. So it was Tracer, but you see
Oh
Liquid,
my goodness.
they do have some ults to work with here. You're going to have Rafa with the Death Blossom and ID with the Zarya Graviton. So look for those two to be comboed into a nice, you know, play where, you know, you get maybe Reaper coming on a flank, Zarya uses the Graviton, sucks some players in, Reaper comes in and takes them all out.
Well, and a beautiful just read there from Rafa, having to just get away from that Graviton as quickly as he could. But there you see the Blizzard actually coming in, not really catching anyone there for the time being. Rafa, though, able to get a pick on, who is that going to be? Enigma, so it won't be long for this one, as now their aggression is going to come out of Team Liquid as they're looking to get right in their face and just, you know, start to stack up some ultimate, but also just really stay right by them and not allow them to enter or, excuse me, exit out of that room. There goes that nano boosted Reinhardt as well. Messer is just going to give a world of hurt to Liquid, or at least delay them for the time being. To hang, though, has to back away. No health for him. And this is going to be a solid stop here for NRG for the time being, but it is dangerous.
Yeah, they still have a ton of time, Liquid, right? I mean, a minute to go. You're going to have Messer with an Earth Shatter. You're going to have AZK getting close to another Pulse Bomb, but you see Minstrel being taken out there by Gods. Gods doing a fantastic job chasing these players down. Now it's going to be difficult for Liquid to make this push because they're going to be staggered, going to have to wait for all their teammates to get alive.
Dummy's just going to continue to build up on that ult, man, and that is just dangerous territory here for Liquid if they want to be able to advance this one forward. They're going to have AZK with a Pulse Bomb, so expect him to make that play. No Big Bang just yet, though, because ID does not have that Graviton Surge. It's a good combo to have, right? Everyone dropped in the center of this black hole, and you just drop that bomb and hope to get as many picks as you possibly can. But AZK backing away here with that Tracer. We've seen what he could do before in the back lines when players are not paying attention to him. You're going to have 2 nano-boosted Reinhardts just going at it, though. And who gets the victory on that one? Messer actually picks off Milo. This could look very good here for Liquid as they're trying to make the advances. And look at that, Seagull just trying to stay alive. AZK, not today, he says. And overtime will be coming up in just a second here, X. This is honestly, with that Graviton Surge, this could very well be a victory for Team Liquid. They could realistically get this one. But Gods drops in, he gets shut down right away. Liquid continuing to advance his payload forward. Enigma, he's trying to go there for the stop as well. Stops the payload just for a little bit, as much as he possibly can. Lucio decides to break it down. That's going to give him the kill, and that will be the game. 3-2, and Liquid look incredible.
Yeah, right there at the end when ID uses his Graviton towards the NRG spawn, there's nothing they can really do to get out. As soon as they get free from that, Mesmer comes in, uses his Earth Shatter, Liquid's able to put it away there.
Wow. Did you expect this?
No, actually, I know a lot of the players we've talked to and whatnot, they've been saying the same things that you echoed earlier, that NRG has looked really good in scrims. And I think on Liquid, I mean, we knew they had the talent, it's just whether or not they could put it together. I mean, a team that's just had so many roster changes here in the early stages of competitive Overwatch, just whether they could all click and synergize as one coming into this one. And I think they definitely stunned NRG a little bit. NRG, I think, probably expected to win that first map.
You know, I hate to be that guy and talk about, like...
But you're going to be that guy.
I'm going to be that guy.
You're going to be that guy.
It's just how I do. It's a Tuesday. Well, actually, it's Sunday. You know, look, Liquid, we're talking about players who have experience. I mean, for goodness sake, Rafa just won QuakeCon, right? Like, this guy...
It's fairly impressive.
Yeah, fairly impressive, you know, so I've heard. But the truth is, like, this is a squad of people who have played in really big match environments, whereas Seagull and the rest of the crew in NRG, maybe, not as much. I mean, you know, Dummy, he has played TF2, good experience on his end, playing at multiple LANs, but, you know, to just put in perspective, folks, this E-League, studio, everything is just, it's a big deal. Like, this is insane.
Oh, no, this is like... Yeah, they've been treated like rock stars since they got here, right? It's got to be a little bit intimidating for some of these players who don't have the experience coming to these live events constantly. And I think that definitely probably setting in a little bit for NRG right now.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's kind of surprising too, because you boot camp and you figure, it's a lot easier to work out the kinks, when your team is struggling or underperforming a little bit, when you're sitting next to your teammates and you can kind of really articulate things well. Like literally point to the screen and be like, that's what we should have done. Like, this is what we should change. You think they come in a little bit better prepared, but we actually have to play the game from Mesmer here. This is Reinhardt.
He was savage. Yeah. Just look at this here, man. He goes in, absolutely cleans house, eliminates and partakes in so many kills there in that one. Gets 3 for himself. AZK managing to find one with that McCree and clearly showing that they came to play. But now the question for you, Matt, is going to be, your energy. And remember what the analyst has said.
Yeah.
If they lose this could be bad for NRG.
That was the map that NRG wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
that was when they felt good on. They lost.
It was like, we got confidence, man. This is going to be good. And then they lose.
Yeah.
So that is unfortunate. So, what do you go with here now?
I don't know. Obviously, the 2 maps they can choose from are Hollywood or Numbani. It's kind of like a toss-up. I mean, I feel like Hollywood is a little bit dangerous. Well, I mean, they're both kind of dangerous, right? Because, I mean, Numbani, a lot of teams just kind of go and attack that high ground. It's like with May's wall, like separating you, it could be so devastating. Then you look at Hollywood and you have that small choke point. It's like May can kind of do the same thing there. And I think, with her coming into the meta, it is going to be Hollywood next. I just got word. So with, May obviously coming a little bit into the meta with these tanks, it'll be interesting to see if that proves to be a problem for some of these teams.
Yeah, and something else to keep in mind. I mean, talking about some of the players on NRG, it was really a great effort from Liquid. I can't pick out one particular member of NRG who was like, oh, bad play, because it was really difficult as a unit to just be able to crack this Liquid offense. They attacked with a lot of authority, and it started out. I want to say started out good for NRG in that defensive side, but just over time things just got out of hand. They just didn't know what to do there.
And it's interesting because usually when chaos usually ensues, you would take the team that's been together a little bit longer, that just boot camped, that kind of knows from experience what their teammates like to do. But it was Liquid who created the chaos and was able to come out on top of those battles. Yeah,
Liquid, for those of you guys just joining us here, is going to be up in the series 1-0 against fan favorites NRG. Team Liquid, though, certainly have fans of their own, as we had mentioned and alluded to before, right? The experience on this roster, most notably guys like Dahang, Rafa, ID, have been around for quite some time, AZK as well. So this is going to be an interesting game 2 here. Can Liquid stun the Overwatch community and take out NRG? Everyone I talked to had NRG moving forward. But you never know. Overwatch is a pretty crazy game as the action is going to kick off here, and we are going to have Team Liquid on the attack. And something to note here, you're going to have your 3 tanks set up. You're going to have actually a 3-2-1, so it's going to be 3 tanks, 2 supports, and of course, 1 DPS. That is going to be AZK looking to get picks with that McCree.
Yeah, I mean, you need McCree trying to poke these players on the high ground. You see Roadhog on his screen trying to come up top. He's just going to put down some shots, scare him down, and you see it's going to be Liquid. able to get through that
Oh.
choke point right away. And AZK gets pretty fortunate there.
I know,
Hog was
right?
coming for him.
I know. Once you get hooked, he probably was like, "Oh crap!" And then, luckily for him, the lip of that wall just kept him
Saw
alive.
that how like when you're playing at home and you get hooked, like immediately I just take my hands off the mouse and keyboard. I'm like, oh no.
Well, see, that's the difference here. AZK kept playing. All right, you see, that's why you're up here with me.
That's very good. Very true.
So here we go, folks, as Enigma's going to look to rattle some cages here. Liquid, as a matter of fact, doing a lot of work. There's going to be a couple members down, and they are going to have to back up Team Liquid. So NRG able to just stay up and hold this one off. A good defensive hold from them to kick it off here on Hollywood.
Well, I mean, Seagull's essential for NRG to be able to hold this, to be able to use that Maywall, break the opponents in half, and just split them. So you want to use that Maywall behind maybe the Reinhardt, maybe like this Winston, so to speak, and just isolate them from the team. And Rafa's going to get nanoed. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get anything with it, as Milo is going to pick up two. Rafa's going to try and get away with his life. Does not work out. NRG gets a second good hold.
This is, just, again, really not much to break down here. Solid holds. You had a nano-boosted Winston, so they were hoping that, with that Tesla cannon, Winston can get in there and cause a significant amount of damage. Of course, when you get nano-boosted, you get double damage on that. So they were hoping that he could disrupt, which is something that Winston's really good at doing. Here comes, though, the Graviton Surge, as action is all over the place, people. Mitchell's going to find two there with Lucio, so that's a good play for him. Rafa's going to get frozen as well. Seagull looking to just hold this one off as much as they possibly can, but they're going to be on the prowl. ID's there for the pickoff, and this could very well be a capture for this Liquid team, and it seems like they are going to be able to do so. Good stuff from them. They were able to crack that shield and move that payload forward.
And I mean, now once the payload starts moving here, we can take a look at some of the ults that are up. It's going to be Rafa with the Winston ult. We talked a little bit about that earlier, where it's not as effective. It's good to just clear space and create room for your team. AZK is going to have the Deadeye. Obviously, Mezer's now going to have Earth Shatter. So Liquid with a ton of utility to use here in this next fight.
Well, let's see how NRG decide to play this one. A beautiful hook there from Gods is going to drop ID right away, and just look at the aggression from NRG, basically just tucking him away at that corner. Oh, he decides to read. Not what you want to do, hooking a
This is a good old-fashioned spawn camping. This is a good old-fashioned spawn camping.
Indeed it is. Godzo's going to drop the ult, just keep them back as much as he possibly can. This is just wonderfully done here from NRG, but one has to wonder, is this a little too aggressive, right? Like, maybe you have to hold back, but it seems to be working very well for Liquid for the time being, as they start to disengage just a tad, and they realize that Seagull's like, you know what, let's just stop that entrance for them, and let's get back, because our damage has been done.
It's actually a pretty good fight for NRG, because Liquid ends up burning a lot of those ults I was talking about that they had for the advantage. They only lose Milo, and now he's going to spawn up, and they're going to be able to just try and make another good hold.
All right, well, now with two bodies on that payload, just waiting, seeing where the next opportunity is going to be. You're going to have Rafa above as well. And, also just want to take note, too, of Rafa playing that Winston. But here we go, though. Graviton Surge, and just a lot of action happening here. Rafa's able to get the pick on Enigma, so that's going to be a very critical Zarya that's going to have to take a seat for the time being. A hook coming in as well. Rafa's in a bad spot, does not get shielded in time by ID, so he opts to just back away here. May's going to have to go to sleep, and ID realizing this could very well be a bad opportunity, and they may need to back up. But you know what? The Ana had other plans. The Hank said, go ahead, charge, and make it happen here, ID. But I don't quite know if this is the situation that Liquid wanted to be in here, but it seems to be working out rather well for them. Graviton Surge as well will go down in favor of NRG, but it won't really have much follow-up with it, as Minstrel, AZK, and ID managed to pick off a bunch of kills. A raging Rafa is going to be on the back line, just hounding down this Zarya. This could very well be a pick here, and I think this is a win for Liquid. If they can continue the momentum the way that they are here. Momentum's a big thing in Overwatch, and once you're feeling yourself, you just got to keep moving that payload.
Yeah, I mean, once you can start ramping up the aggression, right, you start to get ult advantage, and you can really start to snowball some of these games. And you see Liquid moving the payload further up the map. They're going to have to hang with that nano boost in case NRG tries to engage here at the end, and they're going to be able to use the nano. They're going to use the Graviton as well. Just trap NRG at the door, and now NRG is going to have to go the other way, but here comes Reinhardt with the nano boost. Mezer's going to use the Earth Shatter. He's going to be able to get two. CID, Zarya here in the back just laying down some nice damage. It's going to be another wipe for Liquid as they are just advancing this payload with ease.
Team Liquid, man, you know, they came here to play some Overwatch. No one's going to deny that at all. Dummy's trapped in a really bad position there as he will fall to AZK's Tracer. And now Liquid just pretty much unopposed can move this payload forward, and AZK's going for a swap, so I wonder what he's going to pick here, and going for the Reaper. And it's funny, as soon as Reaper picks, the first word he says is death, so you know this exactly what AZK is looking for. This could be very, very nasty here if AZK has his way, but Seagull, though, reads that one wonderfully, goes up top with the Mei, and just manages to block out that Zarya, and those are the Mei walls that you want to see, because Zarya will not be able to get out of there at all. There's no movement options for Zarya. Maybe if you shoot the ground and try and pop up, but it won't happen there. Frozen heroes all around. That's going to be a clear. Gods gets 2 for his troubles, and this is looking rather dapper for NRG as they're looking to do the same thing they did before. Meet them at the front door and say, "Come after us, bud."
And you look, it's going to be Dummy with his Nano coming up for NRG, and it's going to be Milo with Earth Shatter, so that's something they can combine here. When Liquid starts to make a push on the side of Liquid, you're just going to have to tank with that Nano boost as well. And you're going to see Mezzer, he's going to get nanoed, but Earth Shattered right away, so he's going to fall. And you see all of the focus being on Mezzer right now. You're going to be able to take him out. It's a fantastic play there by NRG.
This is just wasting time, valuable time that Liquid cannot afford here. You're only going to have 51 seconds left on the clock. Enigma is going to have Graviton Surge, so look for that to, cause a ripple here for Team Liquid when Enigma decides to pop that one here, which could be right in front, right in this front door, but there goes that wall again, just sectioning him out, and keeps Mezzer at bay, which has to force them all to walk inside from opposite doorways, and Mezzer is going to fall, but a good Graviton Surge. No follow-up there at all, though, unfortunately. And here comes AZK, finds one, can't quite get a double, but despite that, though, a disengage is going to come for NRG, and they're just going to concede this to Liquid for the time being. But look at NRG's ult economy. They're going to have 3 ults. You're going to have Gods with his ult with the Roadhog, Enigma as well with the Graviton Surge, and Seagull with the Blizzard.
You have a ton to work with. On the side of Liquid, though, you're still going to have a Nano, and you may end up getting the Lucio sound barrier, but you're going to see the Nano boost come in there on the Reaper, and it's going to be Milo trying to pin him. The Blizzard goes down as well. They're going to, everything going in NRG's favor.
This is so bad here, and they close them off. They manage to move it forward, and round 1 complete. And if I'm understanding it right, they just held him at bay, man. I mean, they gave him no opportunity to move forward, only getting 2 points on that first round.
Yeah, but I really, it's interesting. I think it'll be something as this meta kind of takes shape, and as you see, may have such a big effect. Is there was one time we actually caught, it was Zarya getting nanoed, and there was actually a wall directly in front of her blocking her off, and you actually have to kind of make the decision whether it's worth just kind of sitting a little bit further back, not dropping, just pushing out, but you want to make that nano worth something, so you kind of feel like you do have to overextend, so to speak, and try and make a play. It'll be interesting to see how that develops, because I feel like that was a little portion of the game where I just saw it happen, and you were just kind of questioning, well, what is the correct decision there? Is it a decision to overextend, try and make the play? If you drop, I mean, you get nothing out of the nano, and now you're man down. Or is it better to just kind of stay with your team and reset and try and keep fighting? It's a very interesting concept.
Yeah, also another thing, you mentioned the wall, right? Seagull, huge shout out to him because he had some exquisite ice walls, right? Just really sectioning out people. You had that one where they section out, the Reinhardt, and they focused on him right away. And that was huge because, that's your main tank. That's a lot of presence that has just been deleted off the map.
Well, right, against a lot of these tanks, obviously they can't do damage at range. No, I mean, they do have some, Reinhardt has Flame Strike and whatnot. They can do some damage at range. But if you can separate them, and then, you separate the healers from them, and you're able to do damage at range, that's when you can be effective against all these tanks.
All right, folks, can NRG get 3 here? Will we be going to a game 3, which will be on Numbani, or will Liquid manage to hold him off? And if they do so, we'll take this series. And I want to say something that not a lot of people here thought that they were going to be able to do. This is going to be very interesting. Taking a look as well, one thing to note, Seagull picking up that Hanzo, trying to see if they can get some picks with him. Hanzo, you start to see him come into the meta quite a bit, especially as the 3-2-1 or 3-3 meta have began to unfold. maybe this is going to work out for them, especially because Seagull can get that high ground with Hanzo.
I feel like Hanzo is such like high risk, high reward, right? Like you either knock down the shots and you're just doing a ton of damage and you're getting picks for your team, or you're just not really contributing at all. So I think it's something that NRG would probably like to see is if the Hanzo is working, obviously stick with it. If it doesn't, maybe have him switch off of it kind of early.
All right, well, they're going to have some bodies on the point here. Is this going to turn out in the favor of NRG as Seagull looking to get some picks, but hasn't quite found anything just yet. Gets a solid hit there on the Reinhardt, which is going to bring Messer down, but it gets healed right away. Keep in mind, too, Tahang is going to have nano boost, so they're just going to push them back. NRG realizing this was not going to work out very well. They lost Gods. Seagull's going to fall as well. They just have to back away, realizing this was a failed push. Time to try again.
Very good for Team Liquid, right? I mean, they stop NRG there at the beginning. Tahang gets his nano boost. You have Rafa getting the Graviton Surge, and then ID getting a Blizzard as well. AZK is going to have his ult. So a lot of utility for Team Liquid. On the side of NRG, you're going to have the Hanzo Dragon Strike. I mean, it's good to just split opponents, right? Just get them to separate, try and create some kind of chaos. But you're not going to get many kills with it unless you combine with like a Graviton. So you're going to see him actually use it. It's going to do some damage, but it just forces them off the point. That's what does. A really great zoning mechanic.
Yeah, it was good for sure, but the Graviton Surge brings everyone together like one happy family as Liquid will drop 3. Messer, though, is going to have to go to sleep there. Milo just waiting for him, pins him against the wall. Messer's going to be in a world of hurt, just decides to get out of there himself, and he is able to fight another day and yet another disengage for NRG as they go back to the drawing board with 2 minutes remaining.
Yeah, God's going to go on a Reaper now, so we'll see if that can really be effective against this tank-heavy lineup. Obviously, Reinhardt in Zarya, 2 very effective tanks together. Zarya just bubbling that Reinhardt, able to get some more energy, able to do some more damage, and I think God's going to do a lot of work on this Reaper, able to do some nice things, able to take out those tanks.
Yeah, and also Seagull switched to Mei, so that was something I didn't note before. But there comes a Blizzard here for ID, and they are just going to stop their Reinhardt again. Milo, unfortunately for him, will fall. Dummy is actually going to drop as well, so that is going to be a prominent healer there, and that is
Seagull not in a good spot there.
Sorry, man. Mei just not the most nimble, and that is unfortunate. But yet again, and I feel like this has been a running theme, back to the drawing board for NRG.
He's probably sitting in that ice block. He's like knows the walls behind him. There's like 4 players from Liquid surrounding him. Like, well, I have about 4 seconds to live here.
Right? All right, so Liquid with Minstrel's sound barrier could potentially do some work. They're going to look to pop that one when they absolutely need it, when the situation has become dire. Enigma is actually going to drop that Graviton Surge on the back lines, and you know what? A sound barrier for Pooks as well could fare very well for them. They're going to manage to drop 3. Gods picks up a double. Pooks finds 1 as well. Enigma, though, is going to be in the thick of things, and that is going to be Rafa having to take a seat. Lastly, ID in the back. Not going to happen, Mei. Try again, and they managed to clear this one. They should pick it up and move this one forward, but it took them quite a while to do so with only 22 seconds left on that clock.
It did. It's a lot like Dorado, right? It took them a decent amount of time to get that first point. Now they're going to get the payload. Going to be able to start moving it. 2 minutes and 45 seconds to work with here.
Look for Gods.
Second checkpoint, and he has a great spot here to be able to come.
This is like classic
down from above.
Quick play right here, Yeah. Of course, this is God's one of the better players in the world here, but just gotta make note of it. And he does get that nano boost and decides to drop in. Does he actually pop that ult? Could potentially do so, but I think they realize this is just not gonna work out in their favor. Not gonna take their time and waste that Death Blossom at that very moment. I think that was actually a pretty smart play.
No, it was smart. Instead of trying to force it into the entire opposing team when he had no teammate support to back him up, he just backs out. Yeah. I like that play a lot.
Yeah, really smart stuff there, Enigma, though, and Gods get the clear, and Gods does use his ult. That would actually make quick work of Messer. Having to deal with this Mei here is going to be unfortunate for Gods because he will not be long for this world, as Hexagram says, and this is very much going to be in the favor of Team Liquid. Seagull, though, with that, beautiful stall out and just going into the ice, just taking a little ice bath for the moment there.
I mean, even though it's Liquid that wins the fight, it's still going to be NRG.
It's still advancement.
Continue to move the payload. I mean, Seagull's done a fantastic job staying alive. He's going to get speed boosted in. He's going to drop that Blizzard. He's going to be able to take out AZK, putting a lot of damage on opponents. They have Messer trapped in a corner. Very nice fight here in favor of NRG.
And look at that. You saw that wall. You know, you had Ana, right? Basically, the Hang's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get away. I'm gonna go inside of the saloon here. Oh, never mind. There's a giant wall in my face. Can't do anything, and then just has to go away as soon as possible. That was awesome.
It was just a fantastic individual play by Seagull, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he stays live, continues to move the payload, uses the Blizzard, takes out AZK, takes out the Ana on the opposing team as well. Just fantastic individual play.
Messer now will get one. That's going to be Dummy. So that will be Dummy with a little bit of ult left to charge there. So look for Dummy to make an impact in this next fight potentially. Meanwhile, though, I think a Blizzard, yeah, Blizzard's going to drop for Seagull as who they manage to freeze out here. Does seem like they get anyone. And a charge for Messer again. And it just seems as if this has just been Team Liquid non-stop, only 29 seconds left on the clock as well. They get the clear out. AZK manages to find one, and this is looking fantastic.
I mean, AZK gets one there with the Death Blossom. Maybe you want to hold on to that for that next NRG push, but we'll see what NRG can set up here with 15 seconds left. They're going to have to go quick.
Dummy's going to have Nano Boost, so expect Dummy to go to Milo right away, and Milo's just going to hit that Earth Shatter. Gods, too, is going to be a player to watch because he will have his Death Blossom up in just a little bit, but they have to get to that payload right now and contest this one. They have the overtime, and he actually goes for Reaper on that one, which was smart, but I think Reaper is just in a bad position, and that was a huge play there as Liquid get the kill on a Nano-boosted Reaper. That's going to be 3 down as well. That will be Enigma just getting whacked out of the sky. Messer gets the kill, and Liquid will take this one. Unbelievable. I'm shocked.
That was so sick at the end. We talked about the dangers of nano boosting like a DPS attack hero, and right there you see it not work out for NRG. They give it to Reaper Gods instead of giving it to the Reinhardt, and he runs in, he gets Earth Shatter pinned against the corner and taken out. Huge play there at the end.
Play. I personally thought that was a very smart play.
No, I mean,
you go for Reaper, he has Death Blossom, you go for the Nano Boost, he jumps in there and just causes a ruckus, but it was just positioning that ended up dooming.
It was just a great play by Messer. I mean, it was a good play by NRG, like it was a good idea, it was just an unbelievable play by Messer.
I mean, honestly, Team Liquid, man, what a performance out of them. You know, just I think that I think NRG still very much in this competition, but it is insane to know that Liquid, the most that they've practiced were scrims online. Not saying that's a bad thing, right? But they're just all at home, just like, hey man, get online for 6 p.m. scrims, dope. And then they did that, right? But here comes Messer, man. This was 100% the play of the game. The stop there just shreds Gods, and it just continues it, right? Finds one as well. Pooks takes the seat, whacks one out of the sky, and that was GG.
I mean, he doesn't take Gods out. We are probably still playing that map. That map is still going on right now.
Potentially. Very true. Very true. An exquisite performance from Team Liquid as they move on in the bracket. Congratulations to them. NRG, though, will make a run in losers. Let's see what they're capable of. But guys, don't go anywhere. We have plenty more Overwatch action coming at you live from the E-League Studios in Atlanta.